Hello and welcome to the RCD ShareNet. I am Dave Thompson, Community Outreach Coordinator here at RCD, and I have got a great program lined up for you for our April is Active April. And usually we do bring on this group to come in and tell all our members and people about the activity that you can get involved with that's accessible in BC and the Lower Mainland. Now with COVID, it's even more important to have these sort of options. I guess we're doing some more shutdowns by the end of tonight. So knowing the things that you can get out and get some activity in the coming months when it gets a little bit warmer is definitely going to be important. So we are going to start with the Disabled Sailing Association, which is part of the Disability Foundation. And I was actually a volunteer there for several years in my younger time. And I would like to introduce Eric Molendyk from the Disability Foundation, and he's going to tell you all about how you can get on the water. Hello, Eric.
Hello, Dave. I have my thank you for the opportunity. I might be familiar to some of your members. Of course, usually I'm doing this in person at the center, but as Dave already mentioned, and it's hard to believe it's been a year already, this is about as in person as we can get at this time. But it's always good, especially now, as Dave mentioned, as part of Active April, to give ourselves something to look forward to. And so, what I'm going to do is give you an overview of our programs. What I'm going to do is I pasted in the chat already any information that you want. Just go to disabilityfoundation.org, and you'll be able to find contact and information about the programs to get connected. So let me just do a screen share. And as Dave mentioned, we're going to start with disabled sailing. And I know that's a program near and dear to him. So it makes sense that we would start here. So I've gone full screen. I hope everybody can see. So last year we ran the program during COVID. What happened is usually we run from the end of May through to the end of August. So last year we didn't start till after Canada Day. For those who are worried about COVID and safety and hand washing, the Jericho Sailing Center was at the forefront of having its policies put in place. So our sailing happens down at the Jericho Sailing Center. Even if you're not a sailor, Jericho Beach is a beautiful place to hang out at. And they have hand sanitizing stations. They have protocols that you can follow. And our staff, like they did last year, when you head down to the sailing center. So this is what you know, so you can see where the staff is behind you now. Obviously, these are pictures from other years. So picture this, but the staff's going to have a mask on, and we'd also ask that you have a mask on as well. When you come down to Jericho, what'll happen is somebody will ask you how you're feeling. Probably some of you have home care help or somebody that comes in, and what they'll say is, how are you feeling today? Do you have a cough? Do you have a fever? That's what we're going to ask. And then, by all means, if you have your own mask, feel free to wear that. And if not, we will provide one for you. And there's hand sanitization stations. Now, our program is extremely popular, and we like to get people out on the water as much as possible. But what we do is during COVID, we have 2 boats running per hour. So that means we have time in between the sessions to wipe down the boats. So the other thing that happens is everything is clean and safe, and it's wiped down because we want you not to worry about that. And also, our volunteers have been prepped on the COVID protocols. Everybody hand washes. And then when you come down, if you haven't sailed before, you might be saying, how am I going to do this? Well, again, it's out at Jericho Beach. So if you were going to head out to the center, it is accessible by transit, either the number 4 UBC or the number 84 will get you fairly close to the center. Now, it is a bit of a stroll in your wheelchair or mobility device, but on a nice day, you've got some great scenery. While you're at Jericho, there is wheelchair accessible washrooms on the second floor. There is an elevator, so you'll have access. And if you're hungry, there's also the gallery that are open as well. And it's a great place to go and go for a walk. So after you're sailing, if you want to cruise along the beach, there are paved pathways that I have used. And then you might be asking, what is the cost? So it's $10. We're all about people getting out and giving it a try. So again, just to reiterate, Jericho Beach, our plan this year is to start at the end of May through to the end of August. We are going to attempt and try and do 6 days a week from Tuesday through Sunday. And the sailing starts from 11 and goes till about 5. And again, we're hoping that the extra day on Tuesday, traditionally we were Wednesday through Sunday. We are hoping that the extra day on Tuesday counterbalances maybe not being able to offer as much sailing. So I just want to go over what you're seeing here. So first off, I want to
Eric, a
say
quick question is,
yes.
what about weather cancellations?
Yeah, so weather cancellations. So for safety as well, safety is first and foremost. As you can see on the PowerPoint, nobody sails without a life jacket. We're going to provide that. And weather cancellations can be if the water is too rough, so too heavy of rain, or it can be, Dave can tell you, you can't sail without the wind. So if the wind is too high, so I'm going to use a sailing term, 15 knots. So knots is the strength of the wind. Wherever possible, we are very aware Jericho Beach is a great place to hang out down along West 4th, but it can take a while to get there. So we try to give you the most awareness that we can of cancellations. We always try to do that. We have an office coordinator, and they will be responsible for taking your bookings, and we try to reschedule wherever we can. But the worst possible scenario is that you're in a boat and you get cold or it's not fun. So we do try to do safety first. What happens is the weather is checked every morning and we try to give the most awareness. So best case scenario, if the weather is good, what would happen is you would come down to Jericho Beach. Now, probably again this year, like last year, our office is going to be actually set up outside. So right when you come to the Jericho Sailing Center, it's a big blue and white building. You'll see our office there. The office coordinator will ask you the COVID questions that we talked about. How are you feeling? We'll make sure that you get a mask and get your hands washed. And then there are different types of life jackets. We have those. You might be able to see as part of the picture here, we have a blue sling as well. So I'm not an expert sailor. You don't have to be. You can enjoy the ride and have fun. And we do have ways to help you get in the boat with a sling. So if you don't have your own, we'll provide that for you. And then the sling can just stay on underneath you while you sail. You'll be out on the water for an hour if you so choose. If you need to come back in early, we can do that. And then you may be saying, well, what if I wanted to develop my skills? Well, we're happy to let you do that. The boats that we use are called Martin 16s, and they have been modified. You can see here, I'm going to go back one slide because I just want to point out, if you have some hand function, I always say if you can play video games, you could sail with us. We have a joystick that controls the sail. So you see kind of that silver stick in front of that lady's legs there. So that's how you can turn the sails. Now, we are extremely proud at Disabled Sailing to say, even if you were paralyzed from the neck down, you could sail independently through sip and puff. Some of you may have seen that used, either operating a wheelchair or operate it yourself. So this fellow here, he sips in. Imagine if you were having a milkshake, and when you breathe on that straw, if you breathe on the straw to drink up the milkshake, what are you doing? You're breathing in. So in a sailboat, what happens is We breathe to puff the sails out. We breathe in to bring them in, and then we puff to bring them out. And again, Dave can tell you when you're learning to sail, you want to sail with the wind. Your wind is the partner in the sailing. So even if you had lack of movement or a paralysis of some type, you can sail through sip and puff. The other thing is our staff or volunteers are right there and they'll set up the equipment for you.
Now,
Now,
just for COVID thoughts, is those breathing apparatuses, the sip and puff, those are something that you would bring?
the sip and puff we have, and what happens is they are swabbed and wiped down with alcohol swabs and cleaned out.
Right.
And what happens is when you book a sail, and we'll get into momentarily on how to do that. If you are able to answer the question of what you'd like, please let us know. So, do you need an extra cushion? Do you need a hoist? Are you able to self-transfer? If you don't know those questions, our staff can work on that with you in real time. These are the boats that we have. Now, you might see the M's on the sail or might notice those. That's because the boat is called Martin 16. On the bottom of this boat, believe it or not, is a 300-pound weight, and that weight keeps you from tipping over. The boats have been tested. We always like to say we like you safely in the boat and safely out of the boat, but we realize you can't jump out. So what happens is you go down to Jericho, we'll get you comfortable with a life jacket, and then either you can transfer into the boat or we will use a hoist to get you in. And then when you're in the boat and you feel comfortable, either a staff or a volunteer will be right behind you. And then what happens is under their tutelage, you can handle the boat as much as you're comfortable with. We'll make sure that you're safe. And again, you're not going to tip. So now you might be saying, okay, tell me more about the Martin 16. So it is a great boat to develop your skills. It is not the fastest vessel, but it is the safest. If you wanted to learn how to sail, what I recommend would be either taking lessons with us that we're going to offer. We're going to have staff that have sail training, that have been sailing coaches or have been race coaches. So what you can work towards what's called a white sail, and there's different levels of that. If you imagine swimming lessons, so you know how when you learn to swim, you get badges and certain things like that. Well, sailing is the same thing. When we sail, you can develop skills and then you can get different certifications. So we can help you with that. And as the slide says here, learn to race. You can also learn how to race in the sailboat with other sailors. And again, the key thing is to remember it's not about winning or losing, but it's about developing your skills. If you get to a point where you've really developed your skills and you want it to go along, let's say you want it to go to the pinnacle of sailing, the Paralympics, you'd have to use a different program and a different level of boat, but we could at least put you in contact with people who have been Paralympians. But one step at a time, it's just to get out there in the sailboat, see if you like it. And how the booking takes place is you'll be able to book online. So we will create notifications through Facebook. You can phone into the office. I can tell you, even though I'm working from home, phone calls are still forwarded to me. Somebody will get back to you. Again, the booking of sailing will not be happening until mid-May. So this gives you a chance during active April that you think about what you want to do and how you want to participate. And again, whether you have somebody take you for a sail or you learn how to sail the boat, that's completely up to you. Dave, I just wanted to ask, how am I doing covering things so far? Is there any
Great.
other questions you think the members might want to know?
Just more about just getting it. How long does it take to transfer and the volunteers and moving in and out, maybe?
Yeah, so we definitely have staff that'll help you sail, and our volunteers have also been trained in the boats. So you have an option of either going with our staff or volunteers. We have a core of volunteers that are extremely loyal, and they love to help people learn how to sail, and they love to help people sail safely. I should mention that this year we have multiple staff members returning. So you're going to get to work with people who are very familiar with the program, and our sailing program coordinator. His name is Avi. He was a volunteer for 10 years, and now he's helping run the program. And as far as transferring, you know, we want to make sure that you're safe and comfortable. So everybody's going to be different, right? It takes me longer to get into the boat because I needed a sling. Nothing's more important than your safety. So if it takes you 10 minutes to get in the boat or 15, so be it. What we do recommend is if you can come down for your sail about 15 minutes early, if possible, then we can put in that extra time to get you into the boat. We're going to put in the time no matter what, but we do want to keep people on a schedule because we know you've made the effort to come down. But the thing is, we will take our time to make sure that you're comfortable. And we welcome people of all different age groups, all different disabilities. We have people who have sailed in their 90s and they're recovering from a surgery. We have people who you saw on the one slide who are kids, they're young, they're learning about sailing. If you're watching and you have kids, we're going to have 2 kids' days that are specially for kids, and people under 18 sail free. And other than that, the cost is only $10. You will be able to book online. When you do a booking online, someone will get back to you confirming your booking. Same type of style as if you were to do a reservation in a restaurant. And if you were to pay the $10, you would get a receipt of that as well. So you can either do that over the phone, or online. And if you don't mind, what I'd like to do is just show a really brief video of what it's like to be in the boat, and what the experience can be. And these are things, again, all of these were pre-COVID. So you'll see what it would be like if we didn't have the pandemic. So when you picture the video, just imagine, you may be wearing a mask and the person behind you may be wearing a mask. And we're going to focus on extra hand safety and sanitization, but the sailing is the same. And hopefully this video gives you an idea of what our program is all about.
One quick question is I saw on your website that you have simulator.
Yeah, so the simulation, that is something too, as we get to the season or during the season. Remember, I said if you can play video games, you can sail with us. If you wanted to get an idea and you're like, you know what, I'm not sure I want to go all the way down to Jericho yet,
Mhm.
what you can do is we're going to be sending out more notifications about a sailing simulator. And it's a computer program that you can run or play or have competitions with, um, from your home, and it'll give you an idea of what it's like to sail a boat. And nothing beats being in a boat. Dave can answer that for you yourself. But through the simulator, you'll get to get the sense of what it's like to be, on the water and working with the wind. And in this video here, this person, she developed her skills over the years, and she went from sailing with someone. You'll see someone in the boat with her, but that's more as a companion part. That's another part of the program I should mention as well. It's about companionship and making friends. So even if you can sail the boat, if you'd still like somebody to be there with you, that's fine too. So just imagine yourself on a sunny day out on Jericho, and hopefully this video gives you an idea. I think I've turned on the sound as well, so hopefully you can hear that.
Yeah,
And
when I volunteered, I actually was the eyes for a blind sailor for years.
yeah, so
He
that's
knew
an
how to
excellent,
sail, but he just couldn't see.
yes, and that's an excellent example of just the different types of challenges that can participate in our program. If you're visually impaired, if you're hearing impaired, and certainly if you're mobility impaired, you can participate, like this lady here. So I'll just start the video, and this will give you a little bit of an idea of what it's like to be in one of our boats. Now, I thought this was a fitting slide to end on because it says beyond limits. And that's what our goal at Disabled Sailing and within the Disability Foundation is to help you on your own journey and to reimagine what's possible. And I know that's one of the Richmond Center for Disabilities goal to help you during Active April and also throughout the year is to figure out what else you can do to get out there. So as you can see, the water can be a beautiful blue. There's all kinds of activities. If you're out sailing with DSA, you'll see people windsurfing and sailing their own boats. You have oil tankers out there. It's a real picturesque view, and I can't say this enough. If you're not quite ready to sail, still come down to Jericho Beach and check it out. There's some great walking paths as well. So hopefully through our program, you'll find something that meets your needs, whether it's the simulated sailing or getting into a boat to give it a try. I want to thank David again for the opportunity to talk about disabled sailing today, and stay tuned for more in the series of what the Disability Foundation and its affiliated programs will have to offer throughout the summer.
Thank you very much, Eric. I do have to add a little caveat to that, inviting to walk down Jericho. I'm doing open water swimming now, so there may not be a very good view of a very big, large man in a wetsuit on the beach as well. So just to warn everybody.
All right. Well, as the saying goes, we all got to start somewhere, and getting out there and doing what you love to do and doing your own exercise.
So you never know. You might see me out there too, flopping around.
Yeah. So,
thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And I'll stop sharing here. And I do want to re-mention, I did put in the chat. I'm sure David, he's very good about sending out notifications. I will share information with him throughout the coming months.
And we'll see you next week for DIGA, the Disabled Independent Gardeners Association. So stay tuned for that. Thanks a lot.
That is correct.